And we begin right now with breaking news of the morning and the week and the month. Israel and Hamas both agreeing to phase one of President Trump's historic peace proposal to effectively end the war in Gaza with a ceasefire and the release of all of the remaining hostages. 48 still in captivity, 20 of whom we believe are still alive. All could be released as soon as this Saturday. President Trump expects them home by Monday. An incredible moment caught in real time. Secretary of State Marco Rubio handing an urgent note to the president about the deal during a White House press conference yesterday. Watch this.
Well, they're smart, but they're not smart enough. Oh, my microphone's broken. Departments to find the criminal conspiracy.
Okay. I'm just giving. Yeah, I was just given a note by the Secretary of State saying that we're very close to a deal in the Middle East, and they're going to need me pretty quickly.
An amazing moment in time. The president then posted this on Truth Social. I am very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. This means that all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed-upon line as the first steps toward a strong, durable, and everlasting peace. All parties will be treated fairly, writes the president. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also wrote on X, with God's help, we will bring them all home. The two leaders spoke by telephone last night. President Trump has been invited to address Israel's parliament this Sunday. The Israeli Security Cabinet set to meet today at 10 a.m. Eastern, and Israeli sources say that they will remain in half the Gaza Strip until the last hostage is released. Hamas is still having to hold up to their end of the bargain, with the terrorist group's full disarmament still in flux. Joining me now is former CIA station chief and Fox News contributor Daniel Hoffman. Daniel, good to see you. Your reaction?
Well, the ceasefire is an extraordinary achievement. It's amazing to think that just about a month ago, Israel tried to kill Hamas's lead negotiator, Khalil al-Hayya, in Doha. And now he's the guy who was negotiating with Israel, albeit indirectly, with the assistance of Turkey and Egypt and Qatar, and most of all the United States, to strike this important deal. Now, you're right, we've got to get the hostages out. There's going to be, Hamas says, a few days, perhaps as many as 10 days it will take them to locate the deceased hostages, and Israel will have to withdraw from anywhere from 50 to 70% of the Gaza Strip. But again, just an extraordinary diplomatic achievement for the Trump administration, and it lays the groundwork for phase two, which is post-war reconstruction in Gaza, potential expansion of the Abraham Accords between Israel and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. The president launching those Abraham Accords in his first term. I don't think he got any credit for it since, and that was also incredibly historic. Daniel, do you believe that Hamas will, in fact, keep up their part of the deal?
I think the ceasefire part of the deal, we should expect them to do that, to release the hostages in return for a number of Palestinian prisoners Israel is holding. That's not a bad deal for Hamas, and they need to relieve the pressure that Israel has inflicted upon them with the massive strikes that Israel has been able to make to take against Hamas. The larger question is phase two, where Hamas would be disarmed and would not participate in whatever political process goes forward, where instead there would be Palestinian technocrats and funding from the Gulf to repair Gaza. That's going to be very difficult, I think. We also have to be concerned about the bad actors in the region, led by Iran and their proxy terrorist network, which will try to do everything they can to torpedo whatever potential there is for Gaza to live in peace. That's going to be a challenge, I think, for the U.S. intelligence community to detect those threats and then preempt them before any harm is caused to the peace process.
Yeah, and that includes the Houthis, I guess. But this is a really important point, and the reason that it's so important that President Trump got the buy-in from other leadership in the Middle East, people like the leaders of Qatar, the leaders of the Saudi Arabian Peninsula, they all trust President Trump. And that was critical in this, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is going to take the entire Middle East, the region, coming together to solve this incredibly difficult challenge. I can tell you from the years I spent in the Middle East, and we talked about all the wickedly complex threats to our national security, this one arguably more difficult than any other one we have to deal with. And kudos to the Trump administration for the pressure that they brought to bear on Prime Minister Netanyahu, for the work that they did with our partners in the region to give us a chance. We're on the right path. There are a lot of things that could yet go wrong, but we're definitely on the right path.
All right, Daniel, thanks very much. Daniel Hoffman with that.